What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Progressive Action TV show. I am your host, Tramel Thompson, and today we will be talking about the 1 and 3 rule. Over the years, I've been asked this question time and time again. What is the 1 and 3 rule? Why did they want 1 and 3 me? How did it happen? How does it work? And so on and so forth. Today, I will be explaining to you guys what is the 1 and 3 rule? How does it work? And most importantly, I found a workaround, the 1 and 3 rule, on how to circumvent it if you did get 1 and 3. So you should definitely pay attention to this show. It's going to be a lot of information. And a lot of people think that the 1 and 3 rule only applies to open competitive. That's false. The 1 and 3 rule also applies to promotional exams also. And this goes around any civil service test and or exam, whether it's open competitive or promotional. So it's best that you pay attention to what's going on here. Now, people first encounter with the 1 and 3 rule is when they get a letter saying that they've been disqualified for whatever position they were seeking. Now, I'm using an example of a New York City transit employee where I blocked out their information. But this is basically the first sign that you've been a victim of the 1 and 3 rule. Now, they explain that you see I have it in the rectangle right there. And it says, if there's an X next to items 2, 3, 4, 5, you are ineligible under the rules of the city personnel director for further certification for the civil service list specified for the following reasons. Now, for this reason, they got an X next to number 2. You were considered and not selected for appointment in accordance with Rule 4.7.1C of the Rules and Regulations of the New York City Personnel Director. Now, an inquisitive person would start doing research. Well, what is 4.7.1C? And they will come across this right here. Now, if you look at C, it says appointment or promotion from an established eligible list to a position in the competitive class shall be made by the selection of one of the 3 persons certified by the Commissioner of Citywide Administrative Services or the head of the certifying agency, as the case may be, as standing highest on such established lists who are qualified and willing to accept such appointment or promotion. Where applicable, such selection shall be made as provided for in paragraph 4.4.12 of these rules. Now, that's just the regular statement of how these things are supposed to happen. But then at that point, a person is left scratching their head. What am I to do? What is the 1 and 3 rule? And it's hard to really find an explanation of what is the 1 and 3 rule. But I'm going to break it down to you guys so you guys can understand exactly what the 1 and 3 rule is. Now, over the years, there has been some controversy in the administration of the civil service system. Legal challenges to appointments or promotions have been brought over improper test administration and grading and discrimination grounds. One of the biggest issues concerns the civil service law provision known as the Rule of 3 or the 1 and 3 rule. Civil Service Law Section 61 allows public employers to choose individuals for appointment or promotion from the top 3 scores from an eligible list. An eligible list is a list of candidates who have passed civil service examinations identified in order by their test score from which state and local agencies will hire or promote employees. The civil service uses a scoring methodology that first calculates a raw score, for an example, the number of questions answered correctly by a candidate, and then creates a band scoring table which groups the raw scores within certain ranges in the same band. As a result, all eligible individuals falling within a particular scoring band will tie for the same rank. In promotional examinations, typically seniority credits will be applied to the raw score before a band score is applied. Veterans credits are also added in open competitive and promotional exams after the score band is applied. The rationale of the 1 in 3 rule is to allow employers to consider factors other than test scores when making appointment and promotions. However, many argue that the 1 in 3 rule actually undermines the fairness of the civil service system. As a result of score banding, often an employer is given a large number of people, not just the 3 top individual scorers to choose from. Some say that the rule allows for abuse by an employer for who is given too much discretion and can pass over the highest scoring candidate in favor of someone who scored lower. In the case of promotional exams, the rule has been described as encouraging an employer to pick favorites amongst top scorers. Anyone making a civil service challenge to a missed appointment or promotion based on a competitive exam should also keep the 1 in 3 rule in mind. Because the public employer is granted the discretion to choose among the top 3 scorers, even where a legal violation is found, a court, generally speaking, may only order an employer to reconsider a candidate for a position. Nothing more, nothing less. In other words, the 1 in 3 rule can restrict a court's ability to directly appoint or promote someone, and it is only under rare circumstances that a court may do so. So there you have it. That is the 1 in 3 rule explained. Now, there's major problems with how the 1 in 3 rule is administered in New York City Transit. For an example, someone who takes an open competitive test, right? Now, open competitive, it should be fair all across the board. So let's use like someone who is going for like a cleaning position. They want to be they are a cleaner and they want to promote to like a train operator or conductor. And I'm gonna use self-promote because whenever you take an open competitive, you are really self-promoting yourself. It's not through the regular channels of promotion. So this cleaner takes this open competitive test, and they end up getting 1 in 3. They inquire why they was 1 in 3, and let's just say the employer say, matter of fact, we go use a real example. An employer say, well, you was 1 in 3 because you don't have a lot of sick time. Well, how is that fair? If someone is taking an open competitive test, let's just say they came from Target, how can the MTA look at their sick time or look at their discipline and say that that's the reason why they was 1 in 3? But they look at the actual MTA employee who took the open competitive test and say, hey, you don't have enough sick time, you can't take the test. That is absolutely unfair, because they can't weigh all candidates the same. They are not looking at the target employee sick record and say that, well, they sick record is not good over there, so you're not good over here. I feel that that's wrong. I think it's discriminatory by nature, and the MTA is actually doing this. Another thing I find strange is that the MTA, they claim that they need conductors, train operators, bus operators, but they are constantly having people fall victim to the 1 in 3. You can't possibly need employees when you allowing this 1 in 3 rule to fester. Now, it's up to the agency head. The head of the agency can say, hey, we're going to cease all 1 in 3. We're going to cease that whole application of the 1 in 3 rule, and we're going to hire as many people as possible because we have to meet demands of ridership. We have to stop canceling service and things of that nature. That is not even being done, right? So in my opinion, I think the 1 in 3 rule is unfair, it's unjust, and it's discriminatory, at least the way that it's applied right here in the MTA. Now, a lot of people hit me up and say, hey, Tramel, how can I circumvent it? What can I do? There's really nothing that you could do to circumvent it. People always say, I'm gonna get me a lawyer. That doesn't work. I'm gonna sue. That doesn't work. Right? I just explained to you what it was. But I did find a workaround. And this has worked to for someone right now who is currently a TSS when they was 1-3 because of I don't even know why it was. They could really 1-3 you for anything, but they was 1-3 and they was left with no answer. I told them the workaround. The workaround was to go back to DCAS, put your name back on the list, and cross your fingers, and hopefully they call you in the next go around. And that's exactly what happened. They called them in the next go around, and I think it took like a couple of weeks, and he actually got the job for train operator, which now allowed him to now be a TSS. So the 1-3 rule is not absolute, where it's a hard no. There is a way to go about it, and that way is, once again, go back to DCAS, ask them to put your name back on the list, cross your fingers, and hopefully some magic happen. Let me know what you think about the 1-3 rule down in the comments. I'll catch you guys later. Peace.